I do such intimate work. I'm in people's homes, women are changing in their underwear. It's kind of hard to get organic content because of the type of work I do. Um, but this just so happened to work out. I was able to get, it's really only one photo, seriously. And then I'm just like touching on all the different things.
Welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast, the podcast for women building their dreams while balancing work, family, and all the things. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc, a wife, mom, marketer, and your side hustling friend here to teach you how to grow a brand that works for you and not the other way around. Whether you're a side hustling pro or just starting out, this is your safe place for real talk, actionable strategies, and the encouragement you need to keep going. We're here to help you make progress and not perfection. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's build your dream one step at a time. Hello, and welcome back to the Side Hustler Podcast. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc, and I am so excited to have you here today because we all know my favorite episodes are social media audits. So in today's episode, we're diving into a real-time social media audit with Dejeune Harris, who is a powerful voice in the fashion space and the founder of Your Stylist Forever. Dejeune is a personal stylist who specializes in helping high-achieving women, especially CEOs, entrepreneurs, and executives enhance their wardrobe and align their style with their purpose. She came into this audit already clear on who her audience is and her messaging, which most people can't say. But like many of us, she's been stuck when it comes to translating that into clarity and consistent, impactful content. And so we rolled up our sleeves and took a deep dive into her Instagram page to not only refine her bio, audit her highlights, strengthen her pin posts, but also to map out how she can start showing up more powerfully online without doing the most. Now, if you are a service-based entrepreneur who knows you're great at what you do, but you struggle to keep your content consistent, or you're just not sure how to position yourself on social media, then this episode is going to be for you, because in this episode, you are going to learn how to optimize your Instagram bio and pin posts to convert profile visits into leads, why you should clean up your highlights and what to include in your highlights, easy ways to show the behind the scenes content, even if your work is intimate or private, how you can use lead magnets like quizzes and checklists to grow your email list on autopilot, and the key to creating content that builds trust without becoming an influencer. So if you're ready to dive in, then grab your notebook and let's get started. Before we dive into today's episode, I have something special for all of my side hustlers out there. Are you building a business while working a 9 to 5 and you're tired of wasting time on marketing strategies that don't actually move the needle? Then you're going to want to get plugged into my weekly newsletter. Every single week, I'm giving you the real behind the scenes scoop on what's actually working in marketing and business. No fluff, no gatekeeping, just real strategies, insights I'm testing in my own business, and practical tips that you can apply right away. If you want to work smarter and not harder and finally start seeing momentum, then head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/newsletter and get locked in. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast. Dejeune, how are you?
I'm good. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, I'm super excited to have you on. So we are going to dive into your social media page for this audit call. But before we dive in, I did want to give you some time to introduce yourself to our audience. Tell them a little bit about where they can find you and what you do and all of the things.
Sure. So my name is Dejeune Harris. I'm a personal stylist. I'm the owner of Your Stylist Forever, and we are a wardrobe consulting agency. We specialize in helping high-achieving Black women, professionals, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and identifying and enhancing their personal style and aligning it with their career goals. All of my monikers are the same. Your Style is Forever. Website, yourstylistforever.com.
Awesome. All right. And so before we get into our social media audit, I wanted to ask you, what do you think is your biggest marketing struggle right now at this moment?
Consistency.
Okay. And when you
Definitely
say
consistency.
consistency, like as far as like consistency with posting, consistency with creating content, All of the above?
I feel like I'm clear on my messaging, but probably just like how I'm getting my messaging across, like posts or reels or blog posts or newsletter. I feel like that consistency is not there.
Okay.
Like I know who my target audience is, like I have my messaging, I have the skill set, but I think just that connection with on social media from what it is that I do and translating it is where I get stuck at. Like I'll get into a flow and then I won't like post anything or create anything, or I feel like, I've already said this. I don't need to post it again.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you are utilizing, I know you mentioned blog, your mailing list, all of that. So you already have those things in place, but you're struggling with also consistency on those platforms as well.
Yeah.
And then as far as your purpose, what do you see yourself being known for within the next 5 to 10 years?
Definitely just connecting with Black women, specifically entrepreneurs or high achieving Black women, because I feel like we are, just as Black women are, an ignored population. Especially the more successful we get, people kind of feel as though Black women have it all together, they can depend on us, and so we are the least likely to reach out for support. So really just helping that demographic identify what their personal style needs are and showing
Mhm.
up more and taking up space.
Okay. No, that sounds good. I love that. Okay, so we're just gonna dive in, head on into your page. So first things first is let's talk about your bio and your profile name. So right now your bio says Dejeune H, personal stylist DC, which I absolutely love that you're utilizing those keywords, personal stylist, and I love that you have in your city DC. That's one of the things that a lot of people typically struggle with is not utilizing those spaces for SEO because Instagram with your profile, with your name, with your bio, it's SEO friendly. So I love how you're utilizing that. And then in your bio, you state, I help high achieving Black executive women show up and stand out through style, which is like crystal clear. A seventh grader, fifth grader can understand exactly what you do. You also have in here that you're recognized in the Washington magazine, and then your call to action is to book your consultation today. So I think that that is absolutely amazing. The one option of feedback that I would add here is to maybe you could also input in your bio like the services that you offer, just so someone can glimpse at your bio and see that you offer this style. Because I know that stylists is a niche where there's a different kinds of people. Some people offer like closet clean outs. Some people offer like personal shopping. Some people they offer like virtual sessions. And so maybe if you clearly just state like your key 1 to 2 services that you offer in your bio, that would be the only piece of advice that I would change in with your bio and with your profile information. And then you do have your location in your name, so you don't necessarily have to add it in your bio. But what do you think about that piece of feedback for your bio?
I love it. My thing is, I struggle with being like too wordy.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part is like the small amount of characters that are available. Like, what would that really look like with me offering my services? I have two key services, and then I
Okay.
have one larger intensive, which has to be clients have to do an application process. I only deal with a few clients a year for that service, but I technically only have two services, which would be the style diagnosis, which is a virtual assessment
Mm-hmm.
just to get the ball rolling like a blueprint. And then I have my other main package, which is style rehab, where you're getting all of the full suite of my services:
Mm-hmm.
consultation, wardrobe assessment, personal shopping, style lookbooks. So I don't know how exactly I would put that information into such a small amount of space.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, if we take it a step back, where we're looking at your bio and it says, I help high achieving Black executive women show up and stand out through style. So, through style would be like a place where you can kind of like add onto that. Instead of putting just through style, which is so vague, you could put through service A or service B. And that way, instead of just leaving it open for people to kind of figure out, you're literally telling them, like, I help you achieve this by doing this. And then you can just keep it at that.
Okay. Okay, I'll look into that.
Have you ever found yourself stuck on what to post or struggling to stay consistent on social media? I've been there, and that's exactly why I created this free guide called 30 Days of Done For You Social Media Prompts for Personal Brands. This guide is loaded with prompts to get your gears turning so you can have a gallery of content to create for your brand and never stress about what to post again. And you can grab it right now at cdcreativecoagency.com/content and start creating content that connects without the stress. Yeah, and I think that even if you have a way of breaking it down, because I know Instagram only gives you like 150 characters to use in your bio. So even if you can try to like maybe put it into Chat GPT and ask it to trim down exactly what you're trying to say, that's also been another thing that I typically do, because I'm the same way. Like I can give you a whole dissertation, but obviously because you are limited to so many amounts of words and characters within your bio, I'll typically type out what I mean and then kind of like tell ChatGPT, okay, refine this in less than 150 characters, make it sound like me, make it easy to understand to where a first grader can read it, and make sure that my call to action is at the bottom to where it's directly above your link.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing I want to get into is your highlights. And so I really love the fact that you have your highlights that are aesthetically pleasing to your brand colors. I'm guessing your brand colors are black and gold, which is like right on point. I love how you have them labeled. I love how you have, the key things that people are looking for whenever you land on your page. So if I want to, see your services, you have a highlight for that. And then it has everything that you offer there. You have a place for your frequently asked questions that people may ask. You have one for events. That was the one thing that I was going to ask you about. So for events, because it looks like this one was back from 2019. Was this like a style event, or like do you host regular events, or what exactly was that highlight for?
For either events that I'm speaking at, I'm
Okay.
hosting myself. So I
Okay.
created a style language workshop, which is just a in-person style assessment to teach women how to identify key components to enhance their style. And that was just specifically on me. And then I also have affiliations with brands like Alice and Olivia,
Mm,
Crease, and Burberry. So I would have private events where my clients can come and shop. The stores closed down. They will come
I
in
love
and
that.
just shop with me, get a discount, get some champagne, and it's a way for them to get to shop with a stylist.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
No,
so
that's amazing. The only thing that I would say here is that sometimes we will need to go in and like clean up our highlights, because the way that our highlights are, it posts the like oldest one. And so if there's something that is more relevant than, the person that's clicking on that highlight, it'll take them some time to get to the like the most recent things. So if you have some things that are in there that are a little bit aged, that may not be something that you do anymore, I would definitely take some time to go through, because it sounds like you've had a couple of things that are more recent. But when I first click on it, it's bringing me to the thing that happened in 2019. And so while that is still, something that's relevant, you want to make sure that your highlights aren't cluttered to where the main information that someone needs to see is at the tail end, because the likelihood of them sitting there clicking through it to get to the end is like slim to none. So if you can
mm,
kind of clean up your highlights and have like the most like relevant things that are there, and then have them at the beginning, then that would be like my one piece of advice there. What do you
okay.
think about that feedback?
I think it's good. I don't know. Just like with the bio thing, it's like, okay, how much do I condense where I'm not giving you too much information or
Hmm.
too many slides, but you're still getting the point.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's what, like, whenever, so, like, for instance, if we go through, I think that was the events one. So, this event, so have you recently had any, like, events that you've worked on?
In person, no. I've
Okay.
actually, I don't think I've had an event in person in like 2 years.
Okay, I see. Because I was gonna say, if you had a example would be like if you had a event, even like last year, like say your your in person style events are an annually thing, then you would just keep the most recent content from that event in that highlight, rather than having the content from 2019 in that highlight, which would be showcased first. I would just keep the ones that's recent within like the last 12-month period or even 24-month period. And then if you're wanting, to utilize that as like social proof or like basically showing people what you can do, another thing you could do is like create a actual portfolio that you use when you are pitching to, different people to partner with you for workshops or to partner with you for events, instead of housing it all right there, because the highlights is really meant to just be a highlight. It's not meant to have like a long, elaborative thing. So that would be my one thing of advice. If you want to clean up the things that you have that are a little bit aged and put it on a portfolio, and then keep the highlights within the 1 to 2 year range, that would be like my biggest suggestion for the highlights section.
I guess because that first one is an event that I did completely on my own, and the other
Mm-hmm.
ones I'm pretty much being appearances at some for someone else's company. Would you recommend me doing one just strictly for the style language workshop, and then maybe for one for pop ups, or is that just too
You
many
could.
events?
Yeah, no, you
Okay.
definitely could. Because that's just like even with myself, like, and for me, like I kind of have them intertwined, because sometimes I will like do, where I'm going to my clients' events and I'm shooting content for them. And then sometimes I have my own like workshops and things in person that I do. Now, for the sake of me, I just like, keeping it, keeping it all in one, because it's one less thing I have to keep up with. But if you would prefer to have them separated, where you have one that's titled for your actual workshops, and then the others are for like collabs, you could definitely split it up that way.
Okay.
Hmm. And then I also was going to say, if you could, another thing that you possibly could do here is create another highlight for like specifically behind the scenes content. So maybe it's you working one on one with a client or something, just so that it can kind of give someone that's landing on your page insight of what it's like to work with you within a session. Because sometimes we post it, behind the scenes content, and if it was like 2 months ago, and we post content often, it's like all the way down the feed. And so if you could have like a highlight that shows like your behind the scenes content of you working with clients, or their reactions of the outfits that you're picking out for them, or the transformations of the closets that you may have cleaned out, or like mini style lessons, you could definitely create a BTS highlight and put all of your story content and content that you posted on the feed, and you may have reposted to your story and highlighted there.
Okay. That's a good idea. I think I ended up taking that highlight off because I had one, because this was one that was really
Yeah.
like the first slide was like from like 2016 when I started.
uh,
So I was like, maybe this is like outdated. Maybe people don't want to see it. So I just recently got rid of it.
yeah. Y'all already know I'm all about working smarter and not harder, especially when it comes to marketing your brand. And if you're still relying only on social media to reach your audience, we need to fix that immediately. Social media is cute, but let's be real. The algorithm is unpredictable, and your content is probably only reaching a small percentage of your followers. That's why I swear by email marketing, because when I send an email, I know 100% of my subscribers are getting my messages. And the best part, Flowdesk makes it ridiculously easy. You can send beautiful on-brand emails, automate your sequences, and even create landing pages without needing to be tech savvy. And because you're listening, I got you a deal. Use my code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout and you'll get 50% off your Flowdesk subscription for the next 12 months. So if you're ready to stop relying on algorithms and start building a email list that actually converts, try Flowdesk for free. And don't forget to use the code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout for that exclusive 50% off. Yeah, and I mean, even me, like I'm due to going back and like cleaning out mines because I have content from like when I first started too. And so, over time you evolve, like your quality of work evolves, the things that you have done has evolved. And typically your BTS one is always the one that is like the most has the most content because if you're always doing stuff, you're always putting stuff in that highlight. So yeah, I definitely would bring it back and just, put like the main things that you will really absolutely want your potential client to see like in that highlight.
Okay.
So the next thing I wanted to get into was the content strategy. So I love how you were talking about your messaging. I feel like it's not confusing at all. Like I said, if I land on here and I'm reading your bio, I can see what you do. The only thing that I would say is, so I see that you post, like you have your pin posts are of live workshops that you've done. So you have one that is called the Power in Presence, and then you have another one. Oh, one is a part one and one is a part two. The one thing that I would say here is so how are you getting people onto your mailing list?
So I have a quiz on my website. I have like older links for checklists,
Mm-hmm.
and I just have a way that you can just opt in. Like you don't
Okay.
even have to like necessarily do anything. So the quiz, the opt in, download, and then also too when people are booking consultations with me, I have an option to say like, "Hey, do you want to be on my mailing list?" And if they say yes,
Perfect.
I'll just add them on like that.
Okay, perfect. The only thing is that I would have one of those things pinned here. So if you have like content that shows people that you have like a style quiz, or if you have content talking about your checklist or something, the one I would pick the one that you feel is going to solve the problem instantly, because people are always looking for that instant gratification, that instant transformation. So if you have one of your lead magnets that, gives people that instant result or gives them something that they can knock out within like a weekend, I would create some content and basically put the link on how they can access that quiz or that checklist and then pin it there. Because then when people land on your page, you can capture those leads of people that are potentially interested in your services or in things that you offer, and you have a way of capturing them and staying connected with them through your email. I love the fact that you go live, but I think that if you want to have one of those pins, I would only pin once because you only get 3 pin posts that you can use. But one of those I would definitely utilize for your lead magnet, so that way you have a way of being able to capture people and letting them know about the free resources that you offer within your ecosystem.
Okay.
And then another thing that I would do is I would have like a piece of content that introduces yourself to your audience, tells people about what you do, and maybe like showcase some of the things that you've worked on. So an example of this would kind of be like a intro post. Maybe you're doing a voiceover, maybe you're talking to the camera and you're basically introducing yourself. You're talking about your vision, you're talking about your purpose, but you're integrating like different clips of things that you've worked on. So maybe you've worked on, a project maybe 2 years ago or something more recent, or, clips of your workshops. You can integrate those things so that way when people land on there, they can get a glimpse of your style, they can get a glimpse of your personality, they can see, the things that you've done all in one place. And then that would be my second piece of content that I would have pinned at the top. The key to having pin posts is making sure that the content that you pin to the top of your page is the content that someone needs in order for them to decide to start working with you or to decide to inquire about your services. And so when you think about the pieces of content that you want someone to see to convert them from someone that's inquiring to now like sending you or contacting you about consultations or reaching out to you about your quiz, you want to make sure that you're really utilizing those 3 pin posts to work for you, rather than just having something there that, I see a lot of time people put like their viral content or, something that has nothing to do with what they do. You really want to make sure that you're using those pin posts to work for you. So when you're, 2 o'clock in the morning, someone lands, like they know what to do next. So what do you think
Okay.
about that?
Okay. So not so basically removing my Washingtonian feature.
No, you can
And
keep that. I definitely would keep that. But I would say like for the other two, like the other two are live workshops that you did.
They're not workshops. So I started basically like a signature series, and
Mhm.
it's called Power and Presence,
Mhm.
where I interview what my ideal client is, or people who have my ideal clients.
Okay,
So
so
these
kind of
are
like a little
successful.
podcast.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess. Okay, yeah,
No,
like a
that's
series.
dope.
Yeah. So, so I've only done two.
Okay.
We're in the second quarter. I've done one each quarter. I just recently did the other one last Tuesday.
Okay.
So, and of course, I use it as a live, and then I'm like breaking it down in clips, and I'm repurposing
Mhm.
those pieces of information as more content.
Mhm.
So that's it. That's what they are, and that's
Yeah.
why it's those two.
No, that's amazing. And I think that that gives people a glimpse of like, you really knowing what you do. And so one way that I would use that is you could either create a highlight that basically has like, live podcast or something like that, label it like that, and you can highlight it in your highlights. But I would say because those are longer pieces of content and people's attention spans are like literally like, I don't feel like that will be a piece of content that converts to someone like reaching out to you or something that's more so to build your credibility. And that's okay to have that content there. But as far as using it as a pin post, I would rather you use like an intro pin post or have like a pin post for your lead magnet. So that way you can actually capture those people that are interested.
Okay.
Okay, and then another thing that I would say as far as content, I love the fact that you are, going live because that is something that even myself, like I struggle with. So kudos to you for being willing to go live and putting yourself out there. And then also like utilizing your reels and things, repurposing your content. I love that. I love how you have like, the clips of you on your live with the captions. I think that's phenomenal. One thing that I would say that I would want to see more on your page is more content of you working one on one with clients. So, and this could be a thing because I know sometimes, like even as an entrepreneur for myself, I go through these spurts of where like I'm not working with anyone, and I'm like, okay, I need to find out a way to get content. So maybe you could do like some mock styling sessions with like family friends, or you could even offer one of your sessions discounted to your mailing list so that you can capture that content and then show more so of what it's like to work with you. Okay, what do you do like when someone's coming in, like the steps of how to start working with you, or pieces of advice, or even just like some educational content where you're like maybe 3 pieces that you should have in your closet this spring, or my favorite way to like style tailored trousers or something like that, and then utilize that with the people that you're performing that content with. So maybe you have a big content day where you're like, hey, on a Saturday, I'm going to block off 4 hours and I need like 4 models to come work with me to shoot some content about styling. And then you basically just batch shoot all of that content so you can showcase yourself working one-on-one with clients rather than a lot of like, because a lot of things, and I know I'm all over the place, but sometimes we fall into this place where we're just like, showing content with ourselves. But sometimes our potential clients want to see us interacting with real people and really leveraging our knowledge with those people. So I would say that's one key piece of advice that I would offer as far as your content goes. I love the whole wardrobe rehab. I love that. Like it's just basically talking about what your service is and you're in the mall taking clips. I think that's phenomenal. But that's one piece of advice that I would definitely give you just from looking at the first like top 9, top 12 posts that you have posted right now. What are your thoughts about that?
So the post that is, I guess, is technically the fifth post. The
Mm-hmm.
second in the center, the CEO has a leading role. If you look at that and slide it, so that was one way I showed. Like, that's me working with an actual client.
Wait 1 second.
And
Let me find it. Hold on. Oh, the CEO was okay. Okay, the carousel. I see. Okay.
mhm.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
let me know what you, is that what you mean, or you mean more like this, like front facing, like, hey, I'm working with the client, and then like actually showing the client.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. I think this is
oh,
great. I think this is great. The
Okay.
only thing is that the first photo. So the thing is that when you think about like your patterns on how you consume content, right? You think about the first piece of like the first clip that you see in a video, the first photo that you see on a carousel, the first like noise or sound that you hear in a video are typically the things that are going to captivate you to continue to watch, right? And so with that carousel, I think it's a great carousel. I don't know if I would have like this cover. I mean, you could, but if you really want someone to like grab someone's attention, I would have like one of the photos rather than the cover, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because just like I was like, oh, I haven't seen anything, and you were like, oh no, it's there. Like I didn't know it was there because I didn't look, I didn't click on it. So I would say use your client interaction photos on there, and then just like you have the CEO leading in her like that text, I would definitely put that as the first text on the first slide, and then continue to show pictures of you working with someone.
Okay. Yeah. And that's another thing too, because I do such intimate work, I'm in people's homes, women are
Mhm.
changing in their underwear. It's kind of hard to get organic content
Mhm.
because of the type of work I do. Um, but this just so happened to work out. I was able to get, it's really only one photo, seriously. And then I'm just like touching on all the different things.
Okay, real quick. If you've been showing up on socials and still not getting the results you want, I want you to listen up because I'm offering free social media audits exclusively for my side hustler listeners. If you're not sure if your page is actually attracting the right clients or if your content feels all over the place, or you just want to make sure that you're on the right track when it comes to building your brand, I got you. These audits are where I go in and I look at your page and I give you the personalized feedback on what's working, what needs to shift, and how to start creating content that actually converts. I'll also drop a few tips and strategies that most people aren't sharing because I want to see you win. And the best part about it, it's free, my friend. So head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/audit and secure your audit today. I do that all the time for my carousels. Like I'll take like one photo of me like working with my person and they're like in the camera, and I'll take a picture of it and just put the text on it, and it's the same picture for the whole carousel. I honestly tell people to do that because it's easier to come up with a carousel off the whim when you're doing a carousel like that versus like going into Canva, making this elaborative graphic and downloading it and having to put it in order. If you can do this on photos with, your clients, that's phenomenal. Even if you have clients that may have your like they worked with you and you picked out an outfit, and maybe they're going to work and they're like, oh, like I really love this outfit. You could take a photo or the photo that they send you with their permission, obviously, and use it as a client testimonial. And so I think that when it comes to creating content, I know what you're saying about a lot of the things are you're in people's homes and things. There's a way to kind of get around it. Maybe if you're like this one, it looks like are you in a store?
I'm in her closet.
Oh, that's her closet. She got a nice closet.
Yeah, she does. It
No,
looks like
that's
it's
nice.
like a
But
fitting
yeah,
room.
and honestly, if you one thing that I would tell you also is when you're working with your clients, if you ahead of time like let them know, like, hey, I need to get some content to, continue to marketing my services. Most of the time they're understanding. Obviously they don't want you recording, with them in their underwear, but if they're like coming out and they're trying on clothes, and they're put together, then that's a good opportunity for you to capture like a look that you put together for them. And then just also make sure that they're camera ready. Like tell them ahead of time, like we're gonna be shooting content. Like make sure, and I mean, when you're trying on clothes, it's always best for you to have your hair and your makeup done anyway, so you can get the whole, gist of everything. But I would tell them ahead of time, like, hey, we're gonna be capturing some content today, so I can further market my services. So I would just, and also it would be best for you to be camera ready for you to also see, the full look of how, the services that we're putting together. That would be one way that I would work around being able to capture content in the moment.
Okay.
Okay, and then so my last piece of opportunities for growth is I would definitely leverage your press feature more. So maybe like even you talking about the experience like through a video. Maybe you're talking about how you were able to even get this feature, or maybe you're encouraging other stylists, hey, this is what you need to do, like, when you're chasing after your purpose, or when you're doing this, that, and the third. I would love to see kind of like that CEO type of content that shows it behind the scenes, because so many times when we are in our business, we think that it's common sense or common knowledge for some people, but it's not. And so that could be a way for you to kind of encourage people and show people, like, you with your CEO hat, on how you're able to get, these press features to help you with your visibility. So I would definitely love to see that. And then also like your reels optimization. So creating reels that have hooks that speak to your ideal client's problems. So like, for instance, are you struggling with finding something to wear to your next board meeting? Or maybe you have, a speaking engagement and you don't know what to wear. Maybe like creating content, in that from that realm or that angle. And even if that's content of you just going into, like, I don't know where you shop, but and don't get offended if you don't shop here, but if you're going into Zara and you're like, I found this blazer, watch me, style this blazer for a speaking engagement for one of my clients. Or maybe you're going into another store and you're like, oh, here's a pair of shoes that I found on clearance. Let me show you how you can style this for your next board meeting. I think that would be pieces of content that will really help people be like, oh, this girl knows what she's talking about. Like, she just went into the store and came up with a look that quick. Because a lot of us, including me, are not so great and so gifted. And so I think that would be a place for you to really like leverage your knowledge, your skill set, your wisdom, to really convert potential clients into paying clients by showing them, the back end of how you are able to pull up together these looks for people that are in the community that you serve.
Okay.
And then my last thing was to grow tips to grow your list. I know you were talking about, as far as consistency goes, that was one of your biggest pain points. And so I think by having your lead magnet pinned to the top of your page, and then also making sure, I didn't even check your links, but making sure that your lead magnet is also in your link tree. That would be another way. So when I click here, okay, so you have book a consultation, styling service, your style blog, media, join email list, style language ebook, buy a little black bag. So yeah, I mean, that is good. But also Instagram has this thing, their in-app built link tree, where you can like have up to 5 links in there. So obviously the first one I would put, the link to booking your consultation. And then also I would have a link to like your style quiz. And then I will also have a link to your checklist. So that way you're able to optimize those things in multiple places and really captures people's attention to start building your email list.
So you suggest more links instead of less, like
Yes.
this
So
landing page.
yes. So when I say more links, okay, let me go to my page real quick so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. So if you go to my page and you'll see like a link tree like this, and you see how like each of them have like, label. Sorry, it's blurry.
No, I know what you mean.
Okay.
I just I basically stopped doing it. And like this page is a backlink page to my website.
Okay.
So this is actually go to my website and it has like those key things listed there. Which basically you're saying just put all the things I have on that landing page.
Yeah.
Give them their own link.
Exactly. And that way, because that way, like whenever you go, it's not so overwhelming, because when you click on your page, it's like, when you click on your website, it's like all of these links like going, here, there, and everywhere. I would just have it listed, the main like top 3. You don't even have to use 5. You can do like top 3. One is to book a consultation. One is to join or to get your style quiz, and then the other would be your checklist. And make sure that you label them like, okay, this is my style quiz, whatever they're going to receive after taking this quiz. Maybe you're trying to identify your personal style. The checklist, maybe that's like key essentials you need in your closet, free checklist or something like that. You want to make sure you label it so people know what they're clicking on, because if I go onto your links that you have right now, I wait, sorry. Okay, so here we go. So if I go onto your link, like I don't even know which link is to your quiz.
I don't have that linked.
Okay, why you? So you got a quiz, but you don't have it linked?
It's on my homepage on my
Okay.
website. Yeah.
Okay. So
So,
yeah, I would definitely
yeah.
put it there. So that way you're making it easy for people to find, but then also easy for you to capture people's information so you can stay in touch with them, you know? And
Okay.
then for your checklist, is that on here too? Let's see.
It's not.
Okay.
Excuse me.
All right,
It's
sis.
not.
So you got all these lead magnets that you don't work so hard on, but you're not even telling people they exist.
Yeah, I definitely kind of like they're old. They're definitely old. I did them years ago, except for my quiz. My quiz will be the newest one,
Mm-hmm.
but I have not been putting a lot of like effort into those.
Yeah, I definitely
Also,
would. You worked hard on them. And honestly, like lead magnets, I mean, if you want to go in and revamp them and rejudge them, but most of the time the information is still valuable to somebody. Like no one is clicking on that same link every single time. Like, you know, someone like me, I'm just now finding out about you. So like I wouldn't know if the quiz is old or new. So I would definitely make sure that you have it in places so people can actually find it. Because if they have to go on a hunt to find it, they're not going to sign up for it, and you're not going to get their email to tell them about your amazing services.
okay, well, that makes sense.
But yeah, those would be my biggest recommendations for the audit. So I would definitely say utilize your highlights, make sure you're creating that content that your potential customers really want to see, which is like client facing content, you know, educational content, behind the scenes content. And then also making sure that you are, you know, putting your lead magnet out there, maybe in your content. That could be one of your call to action. You know, if you are wanting to level up your personal style, comment this word and I'll send you the links to take my quiz. Or if you're needing help to figure out your key essentials in your closet, comment checklist and I'll send you my checklist on, you know, key essentials to have in your closet. But make sure that you're putting your lead magnet out there. Use it as a call to action in your content, whether that's your carousels or your videos or even in your stories. And yeah, that would be my biggest takeaway. So let me know. What do you think about all of
Okay.
that? Was that a lot?
No, I mean it's definitely good advice, and I'm always doing things to like tweak everything.
Mm-hmm.
So your advice is it's refreshing. It's not like things that I've already heard because I would have already did it, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
major things either that deviate too far from what my brand messaging is. Which I notice is like one of the biggest things when I am trying to get marketing support.
Yeah.
They're like everyone's like, you should do outfits of the days. And I'm like, that doesn't align with my brand or my brand messaging. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
an influencer. I'm not the one encouraging people to just do links and
Yeah.
outfits of the days. They're not, I've done them, but you could tell it wasn't aligned. That content did not really connect with people.
Yeah. And that's good. That's good that you're able to identify that. And so I think that you're on the right track. I think you're on the right track. You may just need a little push and a little tug. And I'm glad that I
Mm-hmm.
could offer that for you. And I really, really hope that you will take this advice and you will put it forward because I do feel like you have a brand out there that a lot of people, including myself, need to hear about.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely do that. Um,
Yes.
yeah, that and like my blog. That's typically what my coach is like. You need to talk about this more, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm. For sure. You have all of the pieces. Like you literally have all the pieces. And even like the messaging part, I feel like that's one of the biggest struggles that a lot of people have. And so the fact that you're so crystal clear on your messaging and your audience, like I feel like you're several steps ahead. All it is going to take is just like you really just putting all of these things into action and really positioning yourself as the go-to person for that person. So I think that you're on the right track. I have so much confidence in you and I know that you can do it.
Thank you.
Yes. So for all the people that are listening, make sure that you continue to stay connected with Dejeune. You can follow her at Your Stylist Forever. Hold her accountable if you don't see her content on the page. Haggle her and let her know that you listened to this episode and we're waiting for the content, okay?
Yes, please do.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you on the timeline, girl.
We'll see you too, and thank you again for having me and giving me such great advice.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Side Hustler podcast. I hope you're leaving here today feeling inspired and ready to take your next step. If you love this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another side hustler who needs to hear it. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Carly Dorlin. I'd love to hear about your side hustling journey. Remember, you're doing better than you think, and your dreams are so worth it. Until next time, keep hustling, sis. You got this.